So inshallah, today's video I'll be talking to you about something very important, very important. But before we mention about this topic, the end of time, when it will happen, the alamat that we are seeing right now, and the coming of the Mahdi and the Dajjal and things like that. Before we talk more about that, if you're new to this channel, consider subscribing, because I do talk a lot about those things. And alhamdulillah, I'm trying my best to keep up with all the news, with the alamat, with whatever is happening right now around the world, especially the Muslim world. I'm trying my best to give you the news you need to know. So in 2013, 7 years ago, or 8 years ago now, 7 years ago, British Petroleum BP, okay, they made an estimation that the Saudi oil will run out in 50 years, which would make it 2063 or somewhere like 2065, 60, right? At that point, in that time, the oil of Saudi Arabia will run out. They will not have any more oil. Now, before I mention to you why I said about the Saudi oil as a catalyst, if you like, for the coming of the Mahdi and Dajjal and in the end of time. I'll tell you that more about that in a little bit. Second thing is also, we have seen that the climate change, okay, global warming is happening rapidly, is changing rapidly. In other words, the scientists, they're now saying that it is just a matter of time before we reach to a point where we will not be able to return. It has reached to a tipping point, in other words, right? So that is there. And number 3 is also with the virus that is happening right now, the corona thing going on. It shows how devastating it can be, how quickly it can actually take so many lives. I mean, like right now we have a lot of people are getting killed because of that virus. And the number 4 thing I also want to mention to you about the Sea of Galilee. And I mentioned in my other video how unstable the weather there is, because 2013 to 2018, and these are not what I'm saying. You do not need to trust me. You can go and Google and find out. From the year 2013 to I believe 2018, 5 years, they had no rain. Like, it was so dry, the weather was so dry, and then they got rain last year, 2019. However, though, the weather is still very unpredictable. In other words, what I'm trying to say is that the Sea of Galilee will dry up very soon. This is my understanding, and because of the hadith, Rasulullah said that when the Sea of Galilee will dry up, then the coming of the Mahdi, the Yajuj and Ma'juj will take place. Number 4 or number 5 thing I also want to make mention of is the Russian interference in Syrian matter. Now, a lot of you will think that, well, Russia is doing it because of oil. No. Remember, in World War I, Russia, actually the former Soviet Union, they fought against the Ottoman Turks. Okay, the Ottoman Empire. They fought against them on many fronts. And one of the fronts they fought is where the Armenian, they had to be pushed back to the place that we call today Syria. So Russia is not there only for the oil. Russia has religious reason. The Orthodox Church, okay, I believe it's called Mariana Church or something, the cathedral where Putin went a few months ago, actually last year before the Christmas, right? They are there because they consider that place in Damascus in Syria to be the third Rome. So Russia is not there just for the oil. There are a lot of other things. Also, I actually saw a video a day ago. U.S. armor vehicle, okay, they were going, and the Russian armor vehicle, they were following them, and the Russian vehicle, it tried to overtake the American vehicle. What the American vehicle did, the armor vehicle in Syria, okay, this is happening in Syria, what the American vehicle did is it pushed out the Russian armor vehicle by the side of the road, and they literally had to stop. The Russian this vehicle, I think it's like a armor vehicle, that's what it's called. I don't want to call it a van or something like that. But the point is that they had to stop, and that is because the American vehicle, it pushed it out. Why I'm saying that is because things are getting heated up, right? People are now at a point where nobody trusts anybody, and this year 2020 really started with this theme. Almost we are as if going to see the World War III. So when you combine all of this, okay, this or the oil, when you combine that with climate change, global warming, the drying up of Galilee Sea, the possibility of a nuclear war, the virus that is taking place. If you combine them, all of them together, wallahi, this is not something good. It's not something good. What is coming ahead of us this year had a very shaky start. We had this Umar Qasem Soleimani got killed. A lot of things happened. So, dear sisters, the point that I'm trying to make here is that this all, is just brewing up to become, or to pave the way to the coming of the end of time. And I mentioned in my other videos, this is my personal opinion. The Mahdi, Dajjal, this will not come before the World War III. So World War III will take place first before this people will come, simply because they would perform supernatural ability. They will have supernatural ability. For example, during the time of the Mahdi, there will be no injustice. I mean, people will have so much. Mahdi will say take, and the people will say give. Mahdi will say take. Like, this is a time we're talking about where Allah Azza wa Jal will put so much barakah and blessing. So this, in other words, Allah's intervention will take place. Allah will help the Mahdi, and we know that. And at the same time, we also know the story of Dajjal, obviously, because Dajjal is not a good guy. He will be, resurrecting the dead, the dead person, the dead person. He will be withholding the rain, and he will be doing so many crazy stuff. These things cannot be possible when you have countries like US, Russia, who are technologically so advanced, and many other countries. They will easily get rid of these people. And this is why when you watch Netflix, you will see that in the Netflix show, you will see that these guys, the CIA, they are going after this, this cult leader. That's what they call it, cult leader, who is starting a revolution in Syria and Palestine. And CIA in that show showed they were not happy. They were tracking down this guy. They wanted to stop him. So this is what I saw on the clip. So the point I'm trying to make here is that if CIA is right here right now, and America is here right, the way they are right now, and they hear that Mahdi is here, right? Do you think they will be like, oh, okay, don't worry about it. He's just another guy? No, they know Hadith too. Wallahi, they know Hadith. I mean, if they don't know it, the Muslims will tell them that, hey, you know what? It was prophesied that Mahdi will come. So what do you think they will do? They're not gonna send him flowers, welcome. They're gonna send him planes, fighter jets, and army and things like that to get rid of him, because they don't want to change the status quo. In other words, right? So the point here is that he's coming, the coming of the Dajjal, these things, supernatural events that will take place at the end of the time, will happen after the World War III. And subhanAllah, my sisters, one of the things recently that really stood out to me, number one is the Galilee Sea, and the number two is Russian presence in Syria. Wallahi, these two is making me very anxious, because the Galilee Sea is drying up. There is no two head that will butt on it. Okay, this is absolutely happening. And at the same time, Russian interests, they're so interested to be in Syria. For what reason? Like, why you are doing this? Why are you in Russia, in Syria? Putin doesn't want to leave that place, man. He doesn't want to, and that is because of the qadar of Allah, that these people will end up digging their own graves in that region. And we have seen a lot of casualties already, Turkish casualties. We have seen a lot of other countries, troops losing their life. So, dear sisters, one thing that we can do when the guy asked Rasulullah Mata Sa'a, when is the Sa'a, when is the hour, he said, what you have done, what you have prepared for it. So this is the question that I want to leave you with and leave myself with, is that if the end of time and the, whatever is happening right now around the world, if it is an indication that the hour is near, what are we doing? What preparation that we have right now? That's the question. Inshallah, I'll see you next time. Jazakallah for tuning in. Like this video, subscribe to the channel if you're new here, leave a comment. Inshallah, make dua for everybody. Assalamu alaikum.